Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Today we've got something really special and it's a spider that we've not shown on the channel since the very beginning. And when we done it then, it was but a tiny little sling like this. Well, now they've grown a little bit. And this is, of course, the Haplocosmia himalayana. Now this is a really beautiful spider, and it's one of the very few spiders actually to come out of Nepal, so we don't see a lot of them, and it's a real shame because they are fantastic spiders. Now one of the reasons we probably don't see a lot of them is because they are pretty much a fossorial spiders, and as you regulars know, that doesn't mean we're going to keep a box of dirt. We will set it up in such a way, look after it in such a way that we do actually see a fair bit of it. Now, so what we're going to do, we have got this 20 by 20 by 30 Komodo. Now this is like an arboreal enclosure, but we can use it in a fossorial way because it allows us to have a little bit of depth. They don't need a huge amount. You don't need a great deal at all. So, but it allows us to have a little bit of depth, and that in turn will also help us out with things like temperatures, because these guys come from quite mountainous areas in Nepal, and the literature is very thin on the ground, shall we say. There is hardly any literature to do with this spider. So a lot of what we're learning in the hobby is through just experimenting and seeing what things happen, you know, what we can do. Now, they're saying that in Nepal, these guys like it on the cooler side. Now I found with this one, and we've got another one as well, that they've managed quite well in this room. I mean, it's 80 degrees in here, in the high side. We keep them in sort of like mid-range in the shelving, so they're sitting around about 78, somewhere around there, and they're doing really well. They grow really well. They're not the fastest growers, but they're coming on, and as you will see when we get this girl out, you'll see exactly what I mean. She is absolutely stunning. So what we're going to do, we're going to put her there, and we're going to set this up. It's going to be a real simple enclosure. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but we still want something that's nice to look at, don't we? So we're going to give it a little bit. This is just our normal, straightforward potting compost. Remember, cheap stuff is the best. So we're going to stick that in here. Just break up the large lumps. Now another thing that's on the little information that is available, they say they like it fairly dry. Well, we've done them both ways here, and they seem to appreciate a little bit of moisture as well. So we're going to set this one up. As you can see, this is really dry stuff. We're going to add a little bit of beastie mix now, which is full of leaf litter, and it's actually quite not damp, but it's got a little bit more moisture content than the stuff that we just put in there. But because it's got all of this leaf litter in there, it will make it hold together much better. It looks nice as well. All right, so we're going to mix all that up. Put that in there like so. As you can see, that's quite a firm. One thing that you do when you collect your own stuff, you get this rooty stuff. I normally throw that out, only because I don't like the look of it. No other particular reason. Right, I'm going to go in there. We've got a couple of bits of bark here, and all we're looking for really is a piece of bark that will just give us a little bit of a something for her to disappear to. So we can put that in there like that. We'll just dig down a little bit there, just to give her the idea. And then we're going to use some of our lovely moss here. What I do is I just tap the top of this off. You see, that gets rid of all the bits and pieces, makes it all look brand new again. So we're going to cut this in half. Put that in there. And what this will do, this will also, again, it's going to point her in the direction that we want her to go in. We want her to make up home inside here. That's the idea. That's what we really, really want. So we can try and direct our spider to go where we want it to go. Doesn't always work, but it's always worth a try. We're going to put a simple water bowl in there. Now the chances are this water bowl is going to get filled up with soil and what have you, and we'll end up having to move it again. That's no major hardship. Once she sets up her permanent residence, then we can muck around and put the water bowl where we want to be. Sometimes we'll end up moving it up on onto the moss here. All depends on what she does. So we're going to leave that there like that. That's all nice and clean now. Look at that. Now hopefully we'll get to see her. So we're going to get rid of this stuff now. See how quick and easy it is? We can set that up. It takes no time at all. We'll just stick a little bit of water on our moss, just to rehydrate it. Where we've collected it and it's been in the bag, it's just dried out a little bit. But once it rehydrates, that will come back into life and it will look lovely. Right, that's fine. We'll do that. Right then, now we're going to have a look at our spider. Now this is an old world spider, and they can be rather defensive. They're very, very skittish. So they tend to sort of flash around a bit. It's not something you want to take too many chances with. I think a bite from one of these is likely to be very painful, being an old world. So what we're going to do is we're literally going to unclip. Now you can see where she's been in here. She's grown up in here since she's been a sling, and the webbing is connected to the lid. So we have to be very careful when we take this off that we don't lift everything. So we don't want to lift her with it. So we're going to have our catch cup ready should she bolt across the desk. Hopefully she won't. We've got our paintbrush, and here we go. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take this off nice and gently. Hopefully she's going to stay put. What an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous spider. You can see how the webbing goes all over the place. Now hopefully we can move that without upsetting her, and you should get a good view of her there. She is absolutely beautiful. Now you can see there that she's got the nice browns, almost black on the front legs, with these almost like cream peachy coloured bands. They are absolutely stunning. Now it's a shame that there is so little known about these guys. So it's really down to enthusiasts within the hobby to learn and find out what's going on. So now what we're going to do is we are going to try and pop this in here. Always be careful when you're tipping them in like this that the substrate in here doesn't fall down and flatten her. So we're just going to put that in like so. We're just going to try and tickle her out. These tend to dash off in an absolute storm, so we'll be very, very careful. We're moving her very, very slowly. At the moment, she is just pretending that she's dead. She's not alive. You can see there, she's just getting a bit of anchorage with her back leg. I'm just going to move her out nice and slowly. Hopefully, she just walks out nice and calm. Once she gets a foothold on the new floor, She can feel that. There we go, nearly there. Nearly there. Gently does it. And she is in. Look at that. Didn't that go well? Now hopefully you get to have an absolutely stunning look at her now. We're going to quickly take a photograph because we don't often see this girl. So we're going to try and grab a couple of photographs. This is always the best time to do it. Look at that. That'll make a good thumbnail, won't it? So as we were saying, the information on these is very, very poor. Now what we do know is that they are pretty much, they are a firm terrestrial spider, stroke fossorial. So they do like to burrow, they like to disappear, and they also like to web up quite a lot. They're quite a heavy webber. So we're hoping that she will make her home back in here, and then all of this front here will end up being webbed up. And then hopefully, once we get her feeding under control, we should, in theory, get to see her. Now, by giving them a depth of substrate here, you can see this is only around about 4, maybe 5 inches at the back, and it's only about 3-4 inches at the front. This is more than enough. When she gets down into the very heart of that, gets down into the back of it, you'll find that the temperature down there will be slightly cooler than what it is in the outside air temperature of our room. And this should give the balance. These guys seem to be able to tolerate temperatures anywhere between 70 and up to sort of like 82, 83. They seem quite happy. Now, because they come from Nepal, many people are saying that they should have a nighttime temperature drop. We've not worried about that here. It stays pretty static, and we found that they're nice and active and feed well. And as you can see here, she's got an absolutely beautiful condition. She looks stunning, really, really nice. Now, as a full-grown female, she won't get much bigger than this, really. I think they average out around about the 4 inches or so, which she pretty much is now. She's not far off. So the chances are we are not far away from breeding. I think just to be safe, we will probably give her one more molt. We'll wait for that molt, and then we'll look into pairing her up. Now we have got another one, and that is a subadult male. He's a little bit younger than her, so hopefully they will coincide in time, and we can try and pair them up. But yeah, they are an absolutely wonderful spider. As we were saying about the humidity here, we're keeping her in very, very similar conditions to how we would our chilobrachys, where we keep a nice damp texture in the substrate in the lower parts, where there's some nice moisture, and then on the top we'll allow it to dry out a little bit, and then once a week or so we'll spray our moss just to give it that little bit of, almost just pops it up a little bit, and you'll find that they'll really, really appreciate this. Now we keep the water bowl topped up at all times. We have found with these guys they do like a drink, so important we keep that going. Now food wise, we're looking at keeping, she will take on adult male dubias, no problem at all, and they seem to keep her in really good form, so it's a nice size meal. But they'll take anything lower than that, they'll take it. They do have a very, very strong appetite, so be careful that you don't overfeed. You can see with this girl here, she has not got a huge abdomen, and this is what you want to look at. These are very, very similar to the chilobrachys in the fact that they have like an elongated abdomen, whereas you look at your brachypelmas and that, or even like your geniculatas, they tend to have a round abdomen. These are quite elongated, and you don't want that to get oversized. So as she is now, this is in perfect condition, absolutely perfect. So she is a wonderful, wonderful spider, and I'm really pleased that she's actually sat out and you managed to have a really good look at her. This is quite something else, because being a fossorial spider, they do like to disappear and hide away. But you will see them in the evenings, and if at night time you come in and look into your spider room in the night time, as I often do with a torch, you'll see them out and about. So absolutely Oh, I've got to say, it's one of my favourite looking spiders. I think she's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Right, well, that's pretty much covered our Haplocosmia himalayana, a very, very underrated spider. And all being well, we'll breed them, and then maybe you guys can have one too. They're fabulous. Love them to bits. Right, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you soon, guys.